Hello, Tachistas. My name is Cassie Rincones, and I am the current Tache State Gulf Coast co-rep and currently serve as the Dean of Social Sciences and Humanities for Lone Star College-Kingwood. I have the distinct honor to share with you a brief history of an amazing Tejana as part of Tache's Hispanic Heritage Month series. To say Jovita Idar was extremely progressive for her day might be the understatement of the century. Jovita was a true visionary. She was an educator, a social injustice activist, a suffragist, a prolific author, and respected journalist. Born into a middle-class family in 1885 in Laredo, Texas, Idar was fortunate enough to be educated in Methodist schools growing up. When she earned her teaching certificate from the Laredo Seminary, she began her career as a teacher in a small rural community in Texas. She had a passion for educating young Mexican and Mexican-American children. In particular, she stressed the importance of learning their culture and fostering a Mexican pride. She once said, "If in the American school our children attend, they are taught the biography of Washington and not the one of Hidalgo. And if instead of the glorious deeds of Juarez, they are referred to the exploits of Lincoln, as much as these are noble and just, that child will not know the glories of his nation. He will not love her, and he might even see his parents' countrymen with indifference." Her words captured the embodiment of what it meant to live in a true state of biculturalism, right on the border of Mexico and Texas, the epitome of a borderland, with all its complexities and all its nuances, the good, the bad, and the ugly. The daughter of a newspaper shop owner, she often published articles along with her two brothers in the family newspaper, La Cronica. The family-run newspaper often drew attention over articles denouncing social and economic disparities among the Tejano community in the surrounding area of Laredo. The newspaper didn't shy away from controversial issues of the time, often publishing scathing articles critical of the infamous Texas Rangers, who by this time had a bad reputation and were well known for their history of violence against Tejanos. Other articles included the condemnation of abhorrent incidences of lynchings and other violent acts against Tejanos, both Mexican and Mexican Americans. She even wrote an article in rebuke of Woodrow Wilson's border policies and the use of military force on the border. On one occasion, Jovita herself came toe-to-toe with the Texas Rangers, who wanted to shut down a local newspaper shop called El Progreso. She actually stood defiantly in the doorway and refused to allow the Texas Rangers to enter the shop. A staunch women's rights advocate, Jovita published several articles and topics concerning women's suffrage, advocating for women to play a more active role in politics, and interestingly, wrote about how women needed to pursue their education and exercise more independence from men. All controversial topics in the early 20th century. When addressing the suffrage movement, Jovita directed Tejanas to, quote, "proudly raise your chins and face the fight." She knew education was the key to opening the door for women's inclusion into society. She argued society could significantly improve if women were allowed to actively participate in the social and political sphere. She was quoted as saying, "Educate a woman and you educate a family." She was an accomplished and respected journalist. She interviewed Tejano families that had lost loved ones under suspicious pretenses. Jovita had the foresight to write the interviews down for posterity. These are disappearances where locals suspected foul play involving the Texas Rangers. Stop and think about the risk she took to do that. It would have been dangerous for a man to do this at the time, much less a Hispanic woman. We gained invaluable historical narratives from these writings, and more importantly, gained insight to the complexities of living on the border. She was an amazing journalist writing about Mexican-American civil rights before the identity of Mexican-American even existed, before that identity was coined. That is pretty profound when you think about it. I wish we could have more time to talk about all her accomplishments. I mean, she contributed to the first Mexican Congress. She owned her own newspaper. She was a part of La Cruz Blanca, similar to the Red Cross. I mean, the list goes on and on. She was just an amazing woman. If you would like to know more about Jovita Idar, I encourage you to look her up on the Texas State Historical Association's Handbook of Texas. There was a wonderful piece published last month in the New York Times by Jennifer Medina. Keep an eye out for a biography of Idar by Gabriela Gonzalez from UTSA, who has also published works on Tejanos and the Idar family. I promise you this will not be the last time you hear her name. Today, we here at Tache proudly salute Jovita Idar and all her accomplishments and contributions. That is it for now, guys. Cuídense.